Hello everyone, you're watching a video on the Frostbearer Catalyst. Did you know this weapon is actually a fruit? Like imagine you're on the battlefield and you see a dude coming at you with an apple. Like what's he gonna do, toss it at me? Ow, it hurts, I think I got a bruise. You know what else got a bruise? That apple, because it's a fruit. You get the idea. And just like how a fruit normally shouldn't be used as an actual weapon, neither really should the Frostbearer. Before we go into the actual review, to get this weapon you need to unlock the diagram for it by leveling the Frostbearing tree to level 10. This requires 90 Crimson Agate, of which 80 are scattered around the map, and the rest come from Crimson Wish quests that unlock after level 8 of the Frostbearing tree. Once you get the diagram, you can craft it at the forge using 1 Northlander Catalyst prototype, 50 crystal chunks, and 50 star silver ore. Now onto the actual review of the weapon. It has a base attack stat of 42, which among 4-star catalysts is pretty average. As for its secondary stat, attack percent, at level 1 it gives 9%, which is exactly in the middle of attack percent bonuses for 4-star catalysts. The low end is on the Royal Grimoire with an attack stat percent bonus of 6%, and on the high end with the Eye of Perception at 12%. As for the weapon effect, it reads, hitting an opponent with normal charge attacks have a 60% chance of forming and dropping an Everfrost Icicle above them, dealing 80% AoE attack damage. Opponents affected by cryo are dealt 200% attack damage, can only occur once every 10 seconds. The Frostbearer's weapon effect is shared among the other Dragonspine weapons like the Dragonspine Spear and the Snow Tomb Star Silver. However, unlike the other two weapons, the Frostbearer doesn't have a physical damage bonus, so that means the Everfrost Icicle isn't as effective as it is on the other weapons. The reason being that physical damage bonus actually affects the AoE attack damage from the Everfrost Icicle. To be honest, this ability is good in theory, but hard to actually use, especially since there's no physical damage bonus to boost the Everfrost Icicle. I'll give you an example of why the weapon effect is actually good. Suppose you hit for 2500 damage on a normal attack. If you activate the Everfrost Icicle and it does 200% attack damage, you're doing 5000 bonus AoE damage plus the 2500 from your normal attack. That's 7500 damage every 10 seconds. If you have a crit damage of 100% and you crit, then you double it again and it's now 15,000 damage every 10 seconds. And this is with a rank 1 Frostbearer Catalyst. If you get it to rank 5, the weapon effect would read, hitting an opponent with normal charge attacks has a 100% chance of forming and dropping an Everfrost Icicle above them, dealing 140% AoE attack damage. Opponents affected by cryo are dealt 360% attack damage, can only occur once every 10 seconds. With a rank 5 Frostbearer, if you hit for 2500 on a normal attack, it will now give you a 9000 bonus AoE damage. Add that to your 2500 damage attack, you're now hitting for 11,500 damage every 10 seconds. With a crit damage of 100%, if you crit, you're now dealing 23,000 damage every 10 seconds. That's a lot of damage. However, here's where it's actually hard to put into practice. In order to get the most out of this weapon, you need to have the enemy afflicted by cryo status beforehand. So that means right off the bat you need a cryo character on your team, or else this weapon's effect damage will suck. Sure, you can just use this on its own and hit with the 80% attack damage, or 140% attack damage at rank 5, but at that point, I'd just scrap the weapon and use something else. Anyways, assuming you have a cryo character on your team, next step is to inflict cryo on the enemy, which is kind of hard because of elemental reactions. As soon as an enemy gets inflicted with any other element, an elemental reaction will occur, and the cryo status will go away. That means against enemies like slimes that always have an element on them, you will never be able to keep the cryo status on them. It will just react with their natural element and create an elemental reaction. So that means already this weapon is pretty much useless against slimes. Now, assuming you did manage to inflict cryo status, you have to then switch to your Frostbearer character. Bam, you activate the Icicle, get the super high damage, you're good to go. Next, you gotta repeat that entire cycle every 10 seconds. To get the most out of this weapon, you need to use the ability every 10 seconds or else the DPS will drop. So that means you need to keep track of your character cooldowns or else you're more likely to get an Everfrost Icicle every 20 to 30 seconds or so when you remember the combo. If you can't use the ability every 10 seconds, this weapon isn't worth it. In short, the Frostbearer is viable, yeah, however I would not recommend it. Its usage is based on 3 really strict conditions. 1. You gotta have a cryo character on your team. 2. You need to inflict cryo status without letting other elements touch the enemy. And 3. You need to consistently use the Everfrost Icicle every 10 seconds. So yeah, this fruit is viable, however I don't think it's worth using the Northlander Catalyst prototype on. I would much rather use it on the map Amarr, which boasts the highest base attack stat of 4-star catalysts. It also has an Elemental Mastery as a second stat, and its weapon effect gives elemental damage bonus, which is a heck of a lot easier to use than the Everfrost Icicle. And with that, this review is done. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave any comments or questions down below and I'd be happy to answer them. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one.